We're not
Hello,
live.
everyone. Welcome to the Fit Fatherhood Podcast. It is Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern. You have myself, Zach Bush, Nathaniel with us. We're actually going to focus on Nathaniel today. So if anybody has thought about doing a fast of any sort, Nathaniel just finished one up. So we're going to talk to him and learn a little bit about why he did it, what he got out of it, what he would recommend for somebody else who's thinking about doing it. So without further ado, Nathaniel, good to see you.
Yeah. Where we're starting off, why I did it?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so you've done one of these before, right?
I have,
And I think you said you didn't hold it. You went pretty strict. There was a couple of things that you wanted to tweak after doing it through the first time. Was that the first time you had ever done one?
I've done like 36 hours kind of at the longest that I'd done up until this point, but that was I did almost a full 5 days, like 4.5 days that last time. And yeah, there were some things that I learned along the way that I was doing, I don't want like incorrectly, that was spiking my insulin, and kind of like ruining the fast in a few senses. But I didn't eat anything for the 5 days, but I did. On day one, for sure, I had honey in my green tea, and then I had 1 to 2 kombuchas every single day. That I was just like, kombuchas are good for your stomach, they're good for your gut. Like, it's probably good, but come to find out, there's sugar in there, and that was probably spiking my insulin levels, which during that fast was also attributing to some of the energy that I was getting. This time around, which I don't want to jump ahead too much, but this time around, I noticed definitely less energy. I was, especially day 1, 2, even into 3, like I needed to be a little bit more relaxed as the day wore on.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, before we jump into that,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about what got you thinking about doing one and why you ultimately pulled the trigger to do it?
I've had some close friends that have done longer fasts, some that have done not even drinking any water, just like nothing at all. And they talk about the mental clarity, the kind of spiritual connection, and that piqued my interest. And then as I started diving into like what's your body doing, what's going on inside of you as you're going through these phases, I came across this thing. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Autophagy is how I would say it, which is where on a cellular level, your body is repairing itself. It's like getting rid of the junk, getting rid of the garbage, and creating new cells, new good, good cells for your body to go forward. So when I started this 2 times ago, the first time, that's what I was really interested in, is like cleaning up my insides, getting the gut like cleaned out and re-primed, ready for like good whole foods again. And then, repairing myself on, the cellular level. I have a couple little things that just are lingering. This is going back to like Thanksgiving of 2021. I've just always had this little like post-nasal drip. And what I've noticed on both of these fasts now is that cleared up by day 3. I didn't have it at all. And so from like an anecdotal standpoint, I can say it works. Like the body was repairing itself. I also have just a little kind of skin condition. The doctor says it's eczema. I don't believe it. Brittany doesn't quite believe that. But again, like day 3, I go, look, it's gone. There's nothing left here. And I mean, that's enough to keep me coming back. I plan on doing this once every quarter, but those are kind of the 2 main factors for me. I was interested in what it's going to feel like from an energy level. People talk about, once you kind of pass 48 hours, you get this energy boost, you get this kind of mental clarity. I didn't see the energy boost until I was well into day 3. Like, okay, I'm feeling kind of normal here. I'm not hungry anymore, feeling pretty good, a little bit of mental clarity. I was able to, I timed it so the last couple days were on the weekend. So I was like, I'm able to kind of relax, do some meditations, and really sit with this kind of what's my purpose here? Why am I doing this? Getting rid of the junk. And so that was a pretty cool experience from that standpoint as well.
I think it's interesting, what you'd heard from other people about, kind of some mental clarity and some stuff like that, and how you get that burst of energy after a couple of days. And we're not that far separated, 100, maybe 200 years away from like this just being a part of life where you don't choose to fast for 5 days, but
Yeah.
you're hunting something down for days on end where you're not really eating at all. And so like that's just naturally how it is. And isn't until recently where now you can just run out to the store and your fridge is always full and stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
it's interesting to go back to that, kind of primitive way of doing things. It wasn't their choice then; it's our choice now, and kind of connecting you that way. So I think it's interesting. I've never done it. I can't say that I have an overwhelming desire to do it, honestly, but I think it's interesting like hearing what you are going through as you go through. I mean, we talk every day, so just kind of seeing the progression of it is interesting. And I think each time is different, right? The first time you said you did a couple of extra things, and this time you really kept it kind of strict. So like, what does it look like? What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to have? I mean, it sounds pretty simple in the fact that you're not really allowed to have anything.
Yeah, like, there are a lot of different schools of thought. There are juice fasts, right? There are fasts where you can drink kind of whatever you want. Bone broth, chicken broth, beef broth. I chose to go water and tea this time around. Like, I didn't even chew gum because I used Dr. ChatGPT to kind of walk me through this. I basically I had a conversation with it from my previous fast. So I took that conversation and went, "Hey, how can I do better? How can I, experience more of the benefits of the fast this time?" And it said, water and tea only. And it gave me a list of teas. And kind of every time I'd go to the cabinet, "Hey, can I have this tea?" And it would say why. Like, yes, because it had all these nutrients in it, or no, because of potential sweeteners, or this boosts your metabolism and you don't want to be doing that at this point in the thing. So I took a very strict approach to it this time around. I didn't want to have any added sugars. There were a couple. There was one time I forget. I think it was chicory. I was at a dealership and the guy was like, "Here, try this chicory drink." I'm like, "You know what? I'm really deep into this fast right now. I don't want to mess it up. Let me check it out on ChatGPT on my conversation." And it said, "No, it has some sweeteners in it it has natural sugars in it that you don't want to mess with right now."
Mm-hmm.
And so even coming out of the fast, I used ChatGPT to kind of go, "Hey, what's the best way to break this fast?" I wouldn't have even thought of it, except the first time I did it, you were like, "Hey, how are you going to come out of the fast?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was just going to eat some fish." Like, you might want to slow your roll right there. So I did. I used ChatGPT. Like, I started with yogurt and avocado, with a little bit of salt on it, and you wait a couple hours and see how that hits. Oh, I had an egg. Like, I scrambled an egg just because I had done it before, and I'm like, I'm pretty confident I'll be all right coming out of it. But yeah, like, it's amazing the tool that I use, ChatGPT, for a lot of different things, and it was really cool along the way. Like, I would tell it something that I did, and it would, like, pat you on the back. "Congratulations, you're doing so well. You're really taking advantage of the autophagy at this stage. You're 72 hours in, and so your cells are repairing." Like, it was just really motivating and kinda kept me going.
It's nice to have that. I mean, it's your own kind of little coach and check in
Yeah.
and all that, and you can kind of look back on it and see the progression of things you were asking as you were going through it and kind of what you're feeling. I know you had mentioned it's kind of like a journal, being able to keep it all in one thread and scroll back and be like, "Oh, this is how I was feeling." Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to remember even just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason I did. Like, now I can go back into that chat and say, "Hey, give me a breakdown of everything along the way. What was I feeling?" Because I would tell it like, "Hey, I'm feeling a little sluggish today. I have, I don't know, an earache, or my head kind of hurts, whatever along the way." And now I can see, hey, day one, this is how you're going to feel going forward. So I can compare it to what I've done last time. And I've had a couple people, because I posted about it, on Facebook and on Instagram. And I've had a couple people reach out that want to join. So if there's anybody out there that wants to join, we'll be doing another one in Q3, and I'm going to be going strict again. I will do a couple things differently. I will set myself up a little bit better for success. I'm going to probably start it on maybe a Thursday, but even a Friday. That way, those first couple days when you are kind of feeling sluggish and you're still hungry, I can relax a little bit, not having to, be up and working. And then Monday, Tuesday, when you're getting that energy, that burst, that clarity, that focus, that's when like I'm starting the work week back up. So that's kind of my plan. And then there's a couple other little, like I'm going to get some licorice root and things like that. Just ChatGPT kind of saying prepare. Cause I noticed this time around without the kombucha and without chewing the gum, I just had this bad taste in my mouth the entire time. According, again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but according to Dr. ChatGPT, that was like my body getting rid of some toxins, and it's coming out through this like kind of funky. It wasn't like really garbage mouth or anything. It wasn't even like bad breath necessarily. It just like didn't taste great in my mouth for a lot. So I drank a lot of tea, like green tea, Ceylon, oolong, red rooibos. I had a like a dandelion ginger kind of digestion tea that I was drinking. So I just was cycling teas throughout the day and lots of water. Yeah.
So, you mentioned other people reached out and kind of said like, "Hey, I want to join in the next one." So maybe they want to get started sooner than you're ready to jump right back into this. What's something that you would recommend after going through this twice? You would recommend for them going into it? Like you talk about what you're going to prepare for, like things that they could consider, could get to make it easier, and just kind of where they need to be mindset and what they kind of need to be prepared for.
Yeah, the mindset part, I think, is going to be the most important. I think as far as like things to purchase, you want to make sure that you're getting whole organic teas. Even when I was at the dealership, I'm like, ooh, they have tea here. And I freaking brewed it. I had like steeping, and I'm like, you know what? I should probably check the box. And sure enough, it had like artificial flavoring in it. So you just want to be very careful when your body is starving of these things. You want to make sure that you're not giving it like artificial sweeteners and things like that aren't good for it. So, green tea, oolong tea, the red, again, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but red rooibos, Ceylon, just everything that's really organic. And like I did, use ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. And it'll tell you yay or nay, and it'll give you reasons why. I chewed on I didn't chew on it, but I like kind of sucked on cinnamon sticks a couple times just for the flavor of it. But you want to be careful with the chewing, because when literally the act of chewing releases enzymes into your gut, which can kind of harm the fast. So, but from a mental standpoint, it would have been really easy for me 24, 48 hours in to go like, I'm just going to eat. I'm feeling kind of hungry. I'm not feeling the best right now. I should just eat. But because I had the goal of getting to this state of autophagy, which again, according to Dr. ChatGPT, starts around the 16 to 18 hour mark. So I was already in it, but like I really wanted to hit those benefits at like the 72-hour mark where you're like really, really diving deep into this. So because I had set that goal and that intention for myself, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it made it easier to go, no, this is what I set out to do. I want to go through this whole process. You're going to do it. It's only 5 days. It's not that long. The first couple days sucked for me, but it's only 5 days. So putting that mental, like, I'm going to do this. This is why I'm doing it. Having that intentionality behind it is where I think you need to really set yourself up for success with, is just like start out with, I'm going to do this. This is why I'm doing it, and go for it. And we didn't even talk about like, if you're looking to burn a little bit of extra fat, just don't eat for 5 days. I noticed it definitely in like the love handle area. It's a third or fourth reason why I would do it, but it did. You're in a calorie deficit, and you're in a really big calorie deficit. And I was doing maybe 15 to 20 minutes of walking just outside, really light walking. And that's something that you mentioned is like, you're probably not gonna ever do this because you're really into going to CrossFit and get that high intensity. You don't want to be doing that. That's gonna really burn you out and probably even potentially cause harm because you don't have any nutrients in your body. So you want to keep it really light. I went day one, I woke up and it was, I don't know, 16 hours into the fast at that point. I went and played basketball. Like, maybe I didn't set myself up for success day one so much, but yeah.
Yeah, you had mentioned a couple things. You talked about having intentionality of doing it. Don't do it just because Nathaniel did it or just because you
Yeah.
see somebody else doing it, whether it's fasting or something else. But so having the intentionality, but setting the why of doing it. And even if it is, hey, I want to not eat for 5 days and trim some fat, like maybe that's not the best reason because that's not guaranteed, but having the why of like, all right, I want to challenge myself. I want to push myself. I want to see if I can get the kind of mental clarity that you mentioned might happen. So having the intentionality, and that goes with the fasting, that goes with really any goal, activity, challenge that you're going to put yourself through, whether it's starting a new business or losing weight or doing this fast, like having that why to go back to when things ultimately will get hard. So, I love that. And that's super important. And the other thing you mentioned was kind of coming out of that, like, hey, I trimmed some fat because I wasn't eating anything for 5 days. And that's when you start talking about that the first time, that's what made me think of, when I do a calorie deficit to kind of trim some weight down, your metabolism slows down. It's that kind of basic primitive instinct I talked about before, where when your body goes, I haven't had food in a couple of days, I don't know when I'm going to get my next rush of food, I'm going to slow the metabolism down, and therefore you're not burning as much, so that way it kind of saves itself. So when you go from nothing to a ton, a couple hundred years ago, that's great because now it wants to store all that fat for when it doesn't know it's going to happen. Now we have access to food pretty much at hand at will. So coming out of something like that, or coming out of a caloric deficit or out of the fast, is super important to kind of ease the body back into that. And that goes with like working out too. If you take a bunch of time off, you don't want to dive back to where you were because you work back up to it. So those are the two things I like what you said, have a why, and then also kind of like having a plan to come out of it as well.
Yeah. And thanks to you, I wouldn't have even asked ChatGPT. I wouldn't have thought of it. I was just like, oh, I can just eat now. I'm finally. And I noticed it the first time. I did notice it the second time too. I probably did overeat on the first day back, but I was very like this. I'm eating super whole, like yogurt, avocado, fish. I forget what I might not have even had a vegetable the first night, but I was just going at it. But yeah, part of it is testing and giving yourself a little bit of time and saying, okay, am I having any cramping? Am I having any bloating? Do I have any pain or anything like that? No. Okay. I can go and have some more. And like you said, easing into it, but we've already said that, so I'm not going to keep beating that horse, but
any last thing, any big takeaway, anything kind of closing that you want to talk about the fast specifically that you haven't already mentioned?
No, I don't think so. I think we pretty covered it all. Like the handful of benefits and why I was doing it in the first place and why you may or may not want to do this out there. And I've even thought of doing it longer. Once you get to that 4 or 5 days, it's like you almost don't want to break the fast. Like my body's doing stuff right now. But I want to get back to eating. I love eating food. So even if it's salmon. Yeah.
Oh, well, awesome. It was fun to hear about that. I know we'd mentioned the other one, but I haven't really dove into like the why and all that. So I think it's good hearing from somebody who actually has done it and giving you real feedback and like, hey, like, this time I didn't feel nothing, and that's okay. It's just, it was a challenge, and ultimately, and that's what I achieved. Yeah. So appreciate everybody listening now and in the future. If you want to do a fast or interested in doing a fast, reach out to Nathaniel, see when he's thinking about starting his new one, whether that's the actual next one, or if you're watching this way in the future, maybe it's just happened to be the right time. So reach out to him. We have our Fit Fatherhood Facebook group, school community. We're doing free 30-minute calls for anybody who's struggling to improve health, wellness, fitness, all of that stuff to kind of help create a plan for you. So we just want to help as many people as we can. So please, if you have any questions or need anything, we'll be here every Tuesday at 7:30. That's all I have, Nathaniel. Anything to add to that?
No, we're skipping. You got the week off here for your Thursday night calls. You'll be back next Thursday for those. The links are in the description for those free coaching calls. Like Zach said, take advantage of them. We want to help people out. All we're looking for is hey, this is how I got help. So until next week.
Thanks, everyone.